Hi everyone, my name is Nataliia Shevchenko and I am from Ukraine. Now I live in Edmonton, Canada, and today I will show you how to bake Ukrainian honey cake from scratch. Here you can see two different decorations. So the first one will be a classic Ukrainian honey cake with some berries on top, and the second one I decided to show you how to make buttercream flowers. Like you can see Ukrainian colors, Ukrainsky червоні маки, and this cake was covered with chocolate ganache. So let's bake. We're gonna start making a honey cake dough. That's how we do it. So let's start by mixing all the ingredients. Here we have 2 eggs. We just put everything together in a big bowl. Just make sure you don't have eggshell. My husband hates it. Here I have 3/4 cups of sugar. Just mixing everything together. I'll use whisk. And 1/3 cup of honey. So we have to mix eggs, sugar and honey just to mix it together, don't whip it. Then we add 1 stick of butter. Doesn't matter if it's cold from the fridge or it's soft like room temperature. It will go on double boiler anyway. Now we will wait a little bit until we get our water boiling and put it on top of the pot. So I want to tell you how I learned how to make this cake. When I was a little girl, I was maybe 5 years old, my mom decided to make some kind of new cake because she didn't really bake a lot. And I was always interested in making something, like playing with Play-Doh and baking cookies. So when I was seeing her making something new, I was right there. And she was rolling these like cookie dough circles, and I didn't know it's gonna be cake. I wanted to just bake them because I thought that was just cookies. And then when she baked those cookies, she made a frosting and it appears like cake. We tried it and it was really delicious, so I was asking my mom to make it more and more. That was my favorite cake. Now it's everybody's favorite cake. So now, as you can see, water started boiling. We can put our bowl with mixture on top and just mix it together until everything melts. We want all the sugar and butter to melt. And then we can add baking soda. Be careful, it happens pretty fast. Here, it's almost done. I will just make lower heat so it's not cooked. Now we have to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Don't be afraid, you won't taste this baking soda in the dough. It just has this magic reaction with honey. Now you can see it becomes foamy. Oh my God, I love this smell. Making it a little bit less heat. It almost looks like frosting. Here, it's done. Now we can take it off. Just mix it a little bit. We will need it a little bit later. Now we have to just wait like 1 minute or so until it cools a little bit. I won't need this whisk anymore. I'll change it for spatula. And also, don't forget to add just a little bit of salt, like 1/4 teaspoon. It just helps these flavors to come together. So what do we do now? We just try to make it a little bit cooler. Mix this salt and now we can add flour. Not all the flour at once, just like 1/2 cup. Just mix it together. Then more. So we don't need to make this dough too thick. It's kind of sticky dough. I like to make this dough and put it in the fridge for 1 hour. So you can just make this dough in the evening and put it in the fridge and bake these cakes like in the morning or the next day when you have time. So it's really cool. Sometimes I don't have time for baking, but I have time for making a dough. So because it takes like 15 minutes or so. Now we just add more flour. It's already coming together, like you can see. I don't want to mix all the flour right now because I want to take my plastic wrap and just now we can mix it more. And place it on top of the plastic wrap. As you can see, you didn't even make your hands dirty. They're dry, but you have to wait. It's still hot. Like some people bake biscuits right away, but in this case you have to add more flour, or if you don't add more flour, you just divide your dough and just spread it with your fingers, which I find a little bit messy. So for me it's better to place it in the fridge for 1 hour, or if you don't have time you can place it in the freezer for 20 minutes or so. So for now we will just put it in the fridge. After your dough chilled, we can start making our biscuits. So first we just divide the dough, like I would do 8 pieces, as much as you want, you know, because I'm gonna use 8-inch ring, so for me it's perfect. but out of these 8 pieces, I will make 10 biscuits. Anyway, you'll see. So we will take one. We will need more flour anyway, just to dust it. As you can see, after the fridge, the dough is very pliable, and you can roll it really easy. And we don't need that much flour, just so it's not sticking to the paper. So what I like to do, I just like to pre-cut my parchment paper, like few pieces, and dust it a little bit with flour. If I make 8-inch cake, I can fit 2 rings here, so it's perfect for me. What I like to do is just place this on the parchment paper where we are ready to bake, and cut it with this ring. But don't worry, if you don't have a cake ring, you just can use your knife and some plate or a pot cover, anything round. Or you can make it square, rectangular, anything you want. Now we can make another one. It's a lot of fun. You can bake this cake with your kids. That's what I did with my mom. Yes, my brother used to sit next to me and just steal the dough and eat it. And you know, it's not only my brother. He used to be a little boy, but my husband is an adult man now, and he's still doing it. One more. So before we started rolling our dough, we preheat our oven to 400 Fahrenheit or 200 Celsius. As I see, I can make it a little bit thinner and just cut it. I love these things. They make my life easier. So if we are not ready for baking yet, because we just have 380, we can still work with rolling the dough. You know, this is perfect weather for baking cakes. It's pouring rain outside, and we are here enjoying baking. Just in case, so it's not sticking. Here you are. The oven is ready. What I do, I just put my baking sheet in the oven so it's already hot. And in this case, you will just get your biscuits baked quickly. It will bake very quickly. So what I do, I will just slide it here and put it in the oven. It will take about 4 or 5 minutes, so be careful. You have to watch this. And we can keep rolling the dough. We just keeping working. I don't know, for some people it's like more relaxation time, like for me. After coming back from work, what do you want to do? You just want to sit and watch TV or read some book? guess what? What I want to do? I want to bake. Even if I'm tired and I have a terrible headache, doesn't matter. I will take a pill and we'll go to the kitchen. Here. Let's use a rolling pin to move your dough. It's a very nice trick, which I didn't learn from my mom, actually. My mom learned from me. Sometimes your mom can teach you something, sometimes you can teach your mom something. You just have to keep an eye. Especially when you're baking this cake for the first time, because every oven is different. Maybe you would need to set your oven to 375 degrees, or maybe you will need to set your oven to 410 degrees. It depends on your oven. So what I want to say, when I had some interviews and people asked me to give them my honey cake recipes. So one of the newspapers in Ukraine posted my recipe, like my honey cake recipe. And my mom received that newspaper. My God, she was surprised seeing my recipe, and that recipe said my mom's honey cake recipe. So she called me the next day and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna bake a honey cake with your recipe. She's like, Mom, it's your recipe. She's like, no, it's your recipe. She's like, but you gave it to me. So now my mom said this is my recipe already. Okay, I will take it. Okay, as you can see, the cake is beautiful. You can just leave it here and bake another one. So this oven took even less than 5 minutes. I like to take the cooling rack and just dump it here. You can see how easy. When you just take them out of the oven, they are very soft, but then when they cool down, they become very crispy. So I think this time we will just set the oven for 4 minutes. That's enough. Really easy to work with this dough. Actually, if you don't have time, you can just, like I said, you can just add a little bit more flour and try to roll it right away. But for me, it's better to work this way. Just keep an eye. They're very puffy now. So in my case, this cake ring is my knife today. 1 second, and it's perfectly cut. That's what I was saying. We made 4 pieces, but in the end we will have 10. Oh, sorry. We made 8 pieces, but in the end we will have 10. I know some people would think it's too messy to work with flour. It's everywhere. You can just have it on your clothes. You have to wash your hands very fast. Oh, this oven baking is very fast. Ooh, I think I have to make it less. Okay, I think this oven needs to be in 300 and bake 370. Oh! So, next. You can see this cake doesn't take too long to bake. It just takes, actually it takes some time to bake, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Good. So, as you can see, you can use the same parchment paper you just took out of the oven. Nothing is wrong with that. Here we have leftovers from those 8 pieces. Now just divide it in 2 and we can roll 2 more. A lot of people say that people who bake usually have extra weight because they bake a lot. But it doesn't mean they eat a lot. You know, when you bake a lot, you don't really want to eat a lot of cakes because you bake them so often and you have to try all the frosting and all the sponges and everything. It just like, it's too much. It's too much sugar. Even when I was a kid, when I was baking with my mom, their favorite part for me was making the dough and rolling these biscuits and making frosting and put it together, assemble cakes, everything just to have fun, not really eat the cake. A little bit more. But for my brother, it was different. He was waiting for the cake. He was waiting for cookies. He was waiting for raw cookie dough. That was his favorite part. I bet your kids love them too. You know, I think you can easily use this dough just to bake cookies because it's really delicious. It's so crispy. You can just bake cookies and treat your family. Just give it away just to share with your neighbors and friends if you don't have time to assemble a cake. Nothing is wrong with this. We will just roll it here. And this is, here we go. These are ready to go on top. 2 more biscuits already. Beautiful golden color. And the next one. And just flip it and let it cool. So as you can see, we have one more piece. You can just roll it and make the same 8-inch circle, or you can just make cookies and eat it. Or if you make honey cake like I do all the time with cookie crumbs, this will be the part you will use for crumbs. But we will roll it anyway and make it perfect round. Just a little bit. So like I said, you can make 8 layers, you can make 10 layers. If you want to make a bigger cake, like 10-inch cake, it will be, I think, 7 layers or even 6 layers, because you will want to have extra layers for cookie crumbs. So here, I think I will leave this one on this paper, because this is the last one. So now we're gonna finish to bake all of these biscuits, and we will come back when everything will be done to do our next step. So now we're done with our biscuits. As you can see, we have 10 perfectly round biscuits and 1 more extra for crumbs. We can also use one of these for crumbs if you want to make more crumbs. So that's how they're supposed to look. They're pretty thin and they're puffy. So when you just bake them, they are like soft, and when they will cool down, they will be like crispy like cookies. And especially when you want to frost your cake the next day, they will be even more crispier. But when you will frost it and leave it in the fridge for a few hours, it will be just soft, and you won't even need to chew it, like it will just melt in your mouth. So okay, now we're done with the biscuits and we're ready to make the frosting. Okay, let's make the frosting. It's pretty easy. You just have your sour cream, your sugar, your vanilla extract, or you can use any extract you like. I like to use vanilla extract from Mexico. I find it the best. Like I found in Canada, every time somebody goes to Mexico, I ask them to bring vanilla. You can't believe, but I've never been in Mexico, so at least I have vanilla. Anyway, so I wanted to tell you something about sour cream. Back in Ukraine, we use full fat sour cream. I don't know even how many percent of sour cream has there, because this is like 15%, and in Ukraine it can be 25, I think even 30. So when you put your fork there, it will just stand. Like now you can see it stands, but it's because I did something to make it this thick. So what I did, I just put my sour cream on the cheesecloth and let it drain for about 4 hours to separate some liquid. So at least we have a little bit thicker sour cream, but you don't really need to do it because we will add some cream and it will be more fluffy anyway. So for now, I like to use sugar in my frosting, but you can also use icing sugar if you want, because sugar needs time to dissolve. But it's okay, you can just add your sugar in the sour cream. Just fold it there. You don't even need to use a mixer for this. What you need to do is just mix it together and leave it alone. Just put it aside. Now we will whip the cream. Make sure your cream has 33 or 35%, Sometimes you can buy like 33%, it's still good, like it will whip fine. So I got mine 35. It's really high. Okay, so I use 2 cups of cream. You can use less, but I like my frosting really fluffy. And 1 more. Make sure your cream is very cold, just super cold from the fridge. Otherwise, you won't be able to whip it. Then you can put it aside. I like to use hand mixer for this purpose, or just blender with whisk attachment. I find it really easy and handy. And it won't take a long time. First, you just use low speed for start to make it foamy. It will make a little bit of noise here. Now we can increase your speed. In Ukraine, when you buy sour cream or somebody will give you sour cream from the village who makes their own sour cream, you won't really need this cream to mix it in because it will be very thick. As you can see, it's almost there. Make sure you not overbeat your cream because then it will be grainy. Almost done. Just a few more whisks. Here. It was pretty fast. So, in Ukraine we would call it smetanny krem. So that means sour cream frosting. Here's our smetana. As you can see, it's not that thick anymore because we added sugar. It makes it a little bit liquidy, but no worry, we will help it. And we don't really see any sugar granules. So what do we do now? We just take 1 teaspoon of vanilla. You can add more if you want. This one is pretty strong, so I think 1 teaspoon for this recipe is enough. And what else I like to do is to use lemon zest. Especially when you make your honey cake with berries. This is really a great idea to add lemon zest. So what we do, we just need like 1 lemon, or as much as you like lemon flavor. You can use 1 lemon or you can use half of lemon. It will just add this beautiful citrus flavor. Okay, let's do half of lemon. Just make sure you will use only top of lemon, because if you will grate deeper, it will be bitter. That's enough for now. Mix it together and just fold your cream gently in your sour cream. So if you have vanilla extract. Like sometimes you can buy clear vanilla. It won't add this color in your frosting, but I don't mind this because it's really tasty, it's delicious. Just mix it very nicely. As I said, you can add less cream or you can add more cream, or if you want, you can just use sour cream. That's it, that's your preference. In that case, if you will use only sour cream and it's only 15%, all your frosting will just dissolve in their layers, and you won't really see those frosting layers between honey cake biscuits. Okay, this is done. What I like to do, as I bake this honey cake a lot, I bake it for my friends, I bake it for other people who want some cake for a birthday or some other events. I use special cake boards, so you don't need to use any plates, especially if you give it away. So I will just use this cake board. It's just paper. And if you don't have it, it's okay. You can just use any big plate, and or you have some beautiful special plates you serve your cake, so you have a special cake plate, that will be perfect. Let's start. First of all, like you can see, it's already cold, like it's cooled down, and we can easily make cookie crumbs. It's really crumbly. We will put this aside, and I will show you how I make my own cookie crumbs. I like to use this Ziploc bag. You just put it inside and break it there so you don't make that big mess there. Close it. And also we will need a rolling pin. So I have a rolling pin now, and I decide to use 2 biscuits just for more crumbs. Just put it inside. Make our life easier. You can crush like this. Use your rolling pin. And have fun. If you don't have a Ziploc bag at home, like in this moment, you can just use a piece of parchment paper and cover with another piece of parchment paper and do the same thing. Just roll it. Or you don't use anything, just roll it. You just will have more mess to clean. That's it. The same result. Here you are. It's ready. Now it will wait for us. Just put it here and start. What I like to do, I will just like to put a little bit of frosting on the board or your plate or cutting board, whatever you use for cake, and place your first layer. Then you will make sure that it will stick for sure, it won't move. What about how much frosting you will put? It depends. How much frosting do you like? I like when it's you can see it between your layers, and also I would prefer the same thickness as your biscuit, almost the same thickness. So I would say about 2 big tablespoons, even more. But it depends how much frosting do you like. Here. As I'm using this paper cake board, I would love to have something underneath so it's not sliding. So I'm using this piece of shelf liner, but you can use anything like rubber mat or something like that. But if you don't use anything like made of paper, that's okay. You can just put it on top of your plate and start frosting your cake. Okay. Next layer. Here you can just have fun with this. What I like to do, like today we're just making classic honey cake, medivnik, like we say in Ukraine. And I also like to add some berries. For example, you can add some raspberries, you can add some pieces of strawberries, you can add some Saskatoon berries, anything you like. And my mom actually likes to add prunes, like smoked prunes. This is her best combination, like honey cake with smoked prunes. Today we are just making classic version. So just honey cake biscuits and sour cream frosting. Nothing difficult here. You just put your biscuit and frosting on top and cover with another biscuit and just build your cake. Also, if you like chocolate, you can add some chocolate, like pieces of chocolate or shredded chocolate. Or if you like caramel, you can add some soft caramel there as well. It will be delicious. I tried so many versions and I love all of them. But in the summertime, you would like something just simple, or you can add some berries, or you can just decorate this cake with berries on top and then you will get berries anyway. That's what we will do. A lot of people are asking how can you make perfect round cake with your crumbs? You don't need to make it perfect. It will be tasty anyway, but if you want, I will show you. So as we have the layers pretty sweet anyway, we don't need to make the frosting sweet. And you can, before you frost your cake, you can just taste your frosting. If you need to add more sugar, or you can also add some honey, like liquid honey, and you can get more honey flavor. That's what a lot of people do as well. So here is the last layer. What I like to do when I make it for somebody else and I want to make it really like smooth and perfect, I just put it in the fridge without frosting on top for a while until it sets enough, even for a few hours. I will just use cake ring, like adjustable cake ring. So here is the cake ring. Like you can use it if you have it. If you don't have it, doesn't matter. It just I will just show you what I do. Just put it on top and make it tight. Then you can put some cutting board on top to just squeeze it a little bit, so it will be like perfect, smooth, and then in few hours you can frost your cake over and just use your crumbs to crumble it. So for now, I will just use like simple method. If you want to eat your cake in 2 hours already, we will just do it without the string. So what do? We just use the frosting on top. Okay, now just put this away. What I like to do, just to clean the mess after we use cookie crumbs, we just take a piece of parchment paper. Helps me a lot. And put it on top. Here's almost the last thing we have to do with this cake, but not the last still. First, what we do, we just want to cover the cake on top. Just beautiful, don't be greedy. That's why I like to make extra layers. Sometimes people ask me, how can you make such a big cake and it's so tall and it's so beautiful, like enough crumbs there? Because when I use the recipe, I don't get enough crumbs. Sometimes I just bake extra batch of dough, so I always have extra because I like to bake big cakes. So don't worry if you make a mess, you will clean it anyway. Here. Now, I just like to use my left hand and just cover all the sides. Here. So the cake is covered with beautiful golden crumbs. That's how it's supposed to look. You can eat it right away if you want to, but I would suggest to keep it in the fridge at least for 4 hours so it will be soft, and then you can have some tea or coffee and enjoy your homemade honey cake. So I decided to use this cake plate just to present the honey cake, and you won't see this mess anymore. Just so easy. I know, but if you don't have this cake board, it's okay. You can assemble your cake right on this plate. If you don't want to make this mess, you just put some parchment paper underneath your cake before you crumb it, like you cover the cake with crumbs, and when you finish, you just take it out and your cake plate will be clean like this. So for now, the cake is frosted, like it's assembled, but to make it more beautiful, we can use more ingredients and more decoration parts, and then we are ready to take it with us for some party. All right, now we're ready for fun part. Let's make this cake more beautiful. I used to take like a little bit different, more thick ribbon, but this time I decided to take this one because it's beautiful green color. It will fit men's birthday and women's birthday. Anyway, this is just beautiful. So what I do, I just take this and make a little bit, just small note. Here. Easy. Cut just a little bit. It looks good already, right? But no, we will use more colors. Look at these strawberries my husband found somewhere. It's tiny, but it's so sweet. Alrighty, so I would cut these greens, but they're so beautiful and they're fresh. I will just leave them. Now you can just use your imagination and make your cake beautiful as you want. Just add all kind of colors. In the winter time in Ukraine, you would never find fresh berries. When I came to Canada, my God, I was so surprised. You can get berries anytime. Doesn't matter if it's winter or summer or spring. You can get your raspberries and strawberries and everything fresh and beautiful. Of course, when it's summertime, it's more sweet and more flavorful. That's the right time to eat berries. You can add as much berries as you want. I just like to make it like more reasonable. Oh, sorry, got a piece of paper. Now this cake is ready to go to the fridge, and then in about 4 hours it will be ready to eat. But the best way to eat for the next day, I would recommend to cut this cake the next day. It will be so moist and soft. You will just cut the piece and just put in your mouth and it will melt. This is the best cake I ever made in my life. Of course, I'm making a lot of cakes now and I'm experimenting, but this is the first one and the favorite one. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for joining me today. I had a lot of fun sharing this recipe with you. I hope this recipe will be one of your favorites like it is for me. Please follow me on my Instagram and my Facebook page, Nataliia Sweets, Nata Shevchenko, and you will see more recipes and more cakes like this. And let's cut this beauty and see what is inside. So for one more tip I will give you, for this kind of cake, if you want to have a beautiful cut, like beautiful slice of cake, you can just put your knife in hot water to make it hot. Then dry it with your paper towel and cut. You can feel how smooth and soft this cake is. Make it hot again. Dry it with paper towel and cut again. Here you can see. This is very soft cake. Now you can see inside. You can see all the layers. You can see frosting and all the biscuits separate.